Well, you made it. Welcome to the grand finale of our human nutrition course. You've just wrapped up a really intensive look at food insecurity right here within the United States. You dug into the domestic data, the local challenges, those national safety nets, the whole shebang. But now, for this final explainer of the semester, we're going to pull the lens way, way back. We are shifting from our domestic focus to the incredibly complex, multifaceted, and honestly, deeply fascinating global stage. We're talking about how we prevent and treat global undernutrition.
Here is the roadmap for our final journey together. We'll start by opening up the Global Hunger Toolkit. Then we'll look at international aid organizations, dive into science and tech, spend some time rethinking global agriculture, and finally, look at a universal sustainability plan. We're essentially moving from immediate, emergency triage right through to long-term systemic solutions. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The Global Hunger Toolkit. We are bridging the gap between everything you learned in your previous lesson on domestic food policy and the highly coordinated strategy that's required worldwide.
Okay, let's dive into this. We've tackled U.S. food insecurity, right? We understand the mechanisms of domestic hunger. But how in the world do we feed the entire globe? It's not just a matter of scaling up what we do at home. The sheer scale, the geographical barriers, the wildly varying political climates, it means we need entirely different strategies to address world hunger. It's a deeply multifaceted puzzle, and we need a multifaceted strategy to solve it.
Section 2. International aid organizations. The absolute first step in our timeline of intervention is setting up an immediate safety net to simply prevent starvation right here, right now.
Now, this is a perfect summary to screenshot for your final notes. When combating global hunger, major international players carefully divide the labor so they aren't stepping on each other's toes. The World Food Program acts as the world's largest agency for distributing immediate emergency food aid. Then you have UNICEF, which focuses specifically on child survival. Think clean water, immunizations, and nutrition education. The World Bank comes in with the heavy financial power, providing low-interest loans and grants to developing countries to build up their own health and agricultural infrastructure. The FAO targets the actual farming, developing strategies for agricultural sustainability and decreasing rural poverty. And finally, the WHO coordinates all of this on a global health level, setting the evidence-based policies. Together, they form this massive, comprehensive web of support.
Section 3. Science and nutritional tech. Once that immediate emergency aid is delivered, we've got to look at the midterm. How do we make the food that is available, better?
A major key term for your course vocabulary here is biotechnology. This literally means using living things to produce new products, often through genetic modification, or GM. Now, I know this can be a pretty heavily debated topic out in the public sphere, but from a strictly nutritional and agricultural standpoint, GM crops are brilliantly engineered tools. They're designed to yield more food per acre, naturally resist pests and diseases, and actually survive in extreme temperatures and drought, which, as we all know, is increasingly vital in a changing global climate.
What's absolutely fascinating here is how we can engineer crops specifically for health. Take golden rice. This isn't just about growing more food, it's a specific key designed to unlock a specific lock. In areas where vitamin A deficiency causes widespread blindness and immune issues in kids, golden rice has been engineered to pack in extra beta-carotene to directly combat that specific deficiency. It is a highly targeted nutritional intervention. Now, we should also impartially note the current restrictions in this field. Actually, as of right now, no genetically modified foods of animal origin are approved for human consumption. So the focus remains entirely on plant-based agricultural biotechnology.
Beyond biotechnology, we have commercial fortification, like adding nutrients to staple foods such as flour or salt. But in severe crisis zones, we rely on RUTFs, or ready-to-use therapeutic foods, and this brilliantly illustrates how targeted tech can literally save lives. These are shelf-stable, highly nutrient-dense pastes. Why are they such a game-changer? Because they treat severe undernutrition in young kids without requiring any refrigeration and, crucially, without needing to be mixed with water. In a region where clean water is incredibly scarce and electricity is completely non-existent, these little packets are absolute magic.
Let's move to Section 4, Rethinking Global Agriculture. We've talked about tech and aid, but what about the long-term perspective? How we currently grow our food is a massive, unsustainable drain on the very resources we need to survive.
Let's put these two approaches head-to-head. First, conventional agriculture. This is how a huge chunk of the world currently operates. The challenge? It's an immense resource drain. Conventional irrigation removes fresh water from our aquifers much faster than rain can ever restore it. Pesticide runoff pollutes our waterways and degrades the topsoil. Plus, the climate impact is severe, releasing significant greenhouse gases.
In contrast, we have our ultimate goal, sustainable agriculture. This refers to farming methods explicitly designed to meet our current massive food demands without trashing the environment or exhausting those precious resources for tomorrow.
Consider this absolutely staggering statistic: 37%. Right now, 37% of the entire world's land surface is used for agriculture. To create new conventional cropland, forests are frequently just cleared out, driving massive, habitat-destroying deforestation around the globe. We literally cannot keep expanding our footprint. We're running out of Earth.
Section 5. A Universal Sustainability Plan. So the crucial point is knowing the damage conventional farming causes and knowing the absolute limits of our land. What is the path forward?
International experts actually recommend a 5-point policy, and we're going to walk through these 5 incredibly vital steps. Think of this as the systemic cure for our global food future. Step 1. Stop expanding. We have got to halt the clearing of natural habitats for agriculture. Step 2. Improve yields. If we can't expand outward, we must produce more on the farms we already have, leveraging better seeds and that biotechnology we just discussed. Step 3. Efficiency. We need to use our water and our fertilizers with pinpoint precision to stop the runoff and depletion. Step 4. Dietary shifts. Experts strongly encourage a shift away from high-resource draining foods, specifically eating less grain-fed meat, which requires massive amounts of land and water to produce. And finally, Step 5. Waste reduction.
To really hammer home that final step, consider this jaw-dropping number: 1.3 billion tons. That is the amount of food wasted globally every single year. Let that sink in. While millions face undernutrition, we are throwing away 1.3 billion tons of the food we are actively destroying the planet to grow. Tackling that waste is perhaps the most immediate way to stretch our global food supply without planting a single extra seed.
As we bring this final chapter, and frankly, this entire human nutrition course to a close, let's summarize your ultimate learning outcomes. First, remember the prevention pillars: immediate food aid, breastfeeding support, and nutritional fortification. Second, sustainability. Recognize that transitioning away from conventional farming is not just some environmental ideal. It's an absolute necessity to prevent degradation while meeting global caloric needs. And finally, population control. Understand that slowing population growth through better education, improved healthcare, and strong job markets, all of those directly interlock to preserve our limited global resources.
You know, as students who have now rigorously studied human nutrition from the microscopic cellular level all the way to the global scale, you are the future professionals inheriting these exact challenges. The domestic food insecurity you studied previously and the global crises we explore today, they are quite literally waiting for your solutions. So how will population control, technological intervention, and sustainable farming define the future of our global food systems? Let that provocative question echo in your minds as you finish this course and step out into the field. Thank you so much for an incredible semester, and thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and good luck out there.